Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid, just coming on to Bitcoin. But the CoinsKid cruise, we're getting this little pullback. We have seen 5 waves up on XRP. We was looking at that yesterday, a little 5-wave move. Equally, Bitcoin is running to a level of resistance right now and may actually be creating some kind of reversal pattern. So we'll look at the charts in a moment. But if you are looking for trades, if you're looking for opportunities on a daily time frame in this crypto market, definitely get involved in the Discord. This is something I've been expressing to you a very long time. Get involved because yesterday, again, we've got another little short that played out on YGG. Posted it yesterday morning, beautiful, come down 14% short. Rising channel, bearish wedge, boom, broke down, beautiful. Okay, and then the day before that, Mudeng, I think I relayed this to you in the XRP chart. This broke down, another little short as well. And this is what we're looking at. When the market's trending up, I do look for trends against the trend. Basically, I look for the trades against the trend. If I see the reasons, again, the futures blocks, if it screams out to me and things like that, overextension, with bearish divergences and bearish patterns, I trade them, and this is what I do. So we've been having a lot of success. Last couple of weeks, we've been in a lot of shorts. We've had a couple of massive shorts in this particular section, 40% plus basically. So if you take a look, I've been posting every single day for yourselves, and pretty much every single trade has been a short. So right now, I'm going to be looking for the opposite of that because the market is getting overextended to the downside. So I'm going to start looking at longs. Okay, so you can see there was Chainlink, that was a long, that was a beautiful little trade that played out, came into a buy zone and pumped back up into the God candle back test around about 24,381, I think it was. So it came down here, bullish divergence, came back up into the God candle back test at 24,381, and it was a long. And this was, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, 5th of the 9th right there. Lovely little trade that played out. So that's literally the only long that I've posted in the crypto block section in the past couple of weeks. Everything else has been looking at shorts because the shorts I'm looking at are overextended coins, not just the entire market. The coins that scream short me basically. And the reason is, it's really simple. If you take a look, you've got OG basically, which is in the greed zone, in the extreme greed zone, so it's going to come down. Again, if we go down the list here, you've got this coin, what was this, MYX, in the extreme greed zone, and it comes down. Really simple. Okay, and again, if we go down the list, you can clearly see you've got Plume, which is in the greed zone, and it's just indication of that. So once these coins push into certain zones, this is where you take the opportunity, and not many of them get into the the extreme greed zone, which is where we've got the maximum short opportunities. And again, take a look at this Moondeng, again, extreme greed zone. Okay, and this is what I've done. I create these zones for you that you can look at, and you see the color blocks, and then you trade that zone in the opposite direction. So anything that's overextended and in the greed and extreme greed zone becomes a short opportunity. If you can spot the bearish pattern, for example here, double bearish divergence, making high highs in the index and a rising channel, lower highs in the MACD, lower highs in the RSI, boom, comes down into these God candle back tests down here. Beautiful little trade. Okay, and this is what we do. It's just trading the ranges using the futures block right there. Now I've created a little system called a radar. I'll show you quickly how that works and how you can find your trades in real time. Just kicking back, relaxing, waiting for your trades to pop up, and then we'll dive into the Bitcoin chart. Okay, so looking at radar then, really simple system to use, and again, I'm refining it. It's work in progress. It's a new little system. I really like it. For example, yesterday in the XRP video, I said to you, for anyone that caught that video, I said to you, I'm anticipating a little pullback here because you got your 5 waves up for XRP and you're getting quite overextended on the micro time frames, and this was getting pulled back into the buy zone on the micro time frame. So this is a really important radar. Just the tether dominance is a very important radar. We keep an eye on this because the market is in inverse correlation to tether, and this is why I've included it in the radar system for you, because it's a guide. So once this is pulling in on the micro yesterday, with the fact that XRP can represent 5-wave territory right there, I did say to you, anticipate a pullback here. And woke up this morning, I'm getting a pullback. Fantastic. So what you're looking at in time is the opposite. You're looking for XRP and Bitcoin to come into the buy zone on the micro, which is slowly but surely getting there. Look at that. And then this will be overextended to the upside, and then boom, you've got your long opportunity. Just obviously using your own due diligence and just checking the charts, entering your trade yourself and things like that. It won't do it for you. It's just a visual representation of the the market on overall basically. And what you're looking for is this to squeeze up on the micro, because you can clearly see on the monthly quite overextended the weekly. So I won't imagine the monthly is going to come into the buy zone. It'll only come there on the big macro pullback and correction that possibly in a year's time, whatever, you'll see. Going forward in a 12 months time, whatever, you'll see this monthly into the buy zone, and boom, there's your macro buy signal right there. But at the minute, we're not looking at the monthly to buy because it's the macro and it's getting overextended to the upside. So in time, once this pushes out into your sell zone, you really overextend, you see a red dot like you do for XRP, then you're taking on maximum risk. And this is something I relay to you. So basically, What you're looking for is your micro trades in and out, day trading. So you're looking at like your 5 minute, your 15 minute, and your 1 hour. And obviously the longer play, the sort of mid macro to micro, is your 4 hour time frame. So basically what we're looking for is tether to get really overextended in the greed zone, and this to get really overextended in the buy zone. Once you see that, boom, you've got an increased probability of your long playing out. Really simple. So just kick back, relax. You can set your configuration, you can set your alerts, and equally as well, if you just want to have Bitcoin, keep an eye on it, just click your favorites like that, and you'll see, what you've got is just Bitcoin. Now I'm going to refine this so you can just click the Bitcoin chart. I'll do that in time, but it's just whip. It's just a little idea that I had. It's work in progress, so please bear with me. It's just a visual representation. There's an inverse correlation to tether dominance. That's all it is, okay? And like I said to you, it's not going to do everything for you, okay? It's not going to say, okay, do this, entry point, exit point, things like that. But in time, I'll try and get that into this system and help you as best I can. But it's just going to take your own manual inspection and intervention to, execute these trades basically. So what you're looking for is a buy zone on Bitcoin on your micro timeframes. As soon as it drops into the buy zones, with your, you configure alerts right there. So basically, you're looking at your 5 minute getting overextended to the downside, your 15 minute, 1 hour, so on and so forth, and then you can customize. Let's say, for example, you're looking to trade on the 1 hour because it's a stronger time frame. So you can say, okay, well, if the 1 hour goes into, for example, below 22, add rule, it will alert you. Okay, really simple. And then obviously, if you're looking for the shorts on Bitcoin, you can customize on 1 hour. If it ever goes above, for example, 80, which is quite overextended, add rule, alert me. Okay, save settings, job done, and it alert you. You get a little notification just there. It'll tell you to look at the charts, and then you can see the setup. Does it have a bearish divergence if you're looking for the short? Does it have a bullish divergence if you're looking for the long? Really simple. So basically, on the hour, we'll take a look. Where is it? So on the hourly, you can clearly see you come down, you create all this bullish divergence, and this is what you're looking for in your charts. With the overextension, with the notification, you're looking to come down. Look at these levels here. You don't come down here very often for Bitcoin, and when it does, it usually comes back up. Usually comes back up, and it's a trade. It's a long op. Whether or not you come up to resistance or whatever, they're just trades to ride the wave and ride against the trend. And this is what we do. We trade against the trend on this channel. Okay, so basically what we've got is a bullish divergence there, and you come back up. Look at that. If you caught that trade, okay. But if you had your notification on the radar, you would have got notified. You would have looked at the chart, seen your bullish divergence. You would have gone in, stop loss, pivot low to negate the trade, and boom, 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 boom. You're on it back up. Nice little move back up. But obviously it wasn't breaking out because it came down eventually and lost that low. But it's a nice little trade to jump in and out. And this is why I've made the system for you. And again, you come all the way up, you're above 80, look at that, you get a ping, okay, I exit my trade or whatever. So in time I will create some kind of bot and algorithm and API that you can plug it in, and it will ping, open a trade, close a trade above 80, and open a trade below 20 and things like that. And what I'm trying to do as well is get this data for bullish and bearish divergence, because I need to drag that into the system somehow. But for now, it's just a little tool, visual representation of the market as an inverse correlation to tether. I hope you enjoy it. I'm getting really good feedback about the tool. And again, if you want to use it, go to CoinsKid.com and get involved. Okay, let's dive into the Bitcoin chart, see what we can see. So take a look at Bitcoin on the 4 hourly time frame at the moment. We do have a neckline which we've broken out just there. For Bitcoin, looking at inverse head and shoulders pattern with yourselves. Come up, there's your right shoulder, there's your left shoulder, sorry. You come down, made your head, you come down, made your right shoulder, and you're broken out. So I'm looking at this neckline being retested. If it can hold it and maintain this high-low swing structure, then okay, you got some kind of swing high, swing low here for Bitcoin as it's approaching the resistance zones. So what's good here for Bitcoin? A lot of people can't see it, but what we've got is really simple. We've got the high, you've come down a double top drop, you've broken down, you back tested the previous level of support as resistance, you've dropped once more, and from this point you've been making lower lows and lower highs in some kind of channel. So you come all the way down, got resistance and support, broke out back test, and you've been trending back up ever since. So where you're running into is normal. This is the previous pivot point of resistance. What happened at that particular time frame when you ran into it? You came back, made the high low, and then you broke out basically. What's happening at this previous resistance, where you found resistance and rolled over, you coming up looking to make a higher low like you did there, and then break out. So at the minute, the trend, although people don't feel like it is potentially you've bottomed down here for Bitcoin, and you're reversing a trend coming back up the stairs like this, because you're making a series of high highs, high lows from this key pivot point into nominal resistance. Resistance, failed to get through it, dropped. Resistance, failed to get through it, dropped. Right now, you're doing exactly what you've done before, but you're in the reverse of the trend, where this is a downtrend. This is now potentially an uptrend. So it's really simple. This low is your key support for this uptrend that's began for Bitcoin, because from here right now, you're looking at potential inverse head and shoulders that's formed, and equally another one. Boom, 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 boom. Look at this. Right on the neckline of that resistance where you rolled. So if Bitcoin had gone through that, that would have been a bit more dubious. It would have been a bit more, okay, something's going on there. So the fact that we run into that resistance and rolling over, it's good. You want to see that. Resistance becomes support and support becomes resistance. So this is your floor and this is now your ceiling. Okay, if we can break out the ceiling, fantastic. I think we're in price discovery here. So until that day comes, you come up, these are your floors, you're looking to hold your floors. If you start to lose them, primarily this one, okay, Bitcoin's correction is not over. This is a retracement. After a push to the downside, you're still retracing into the same resistance, and you're looking for rejection and a drop. And I think that is what the vast majority of people are looking for, because I think that that's the top. But like I said to you, I don't think that's the top. I think this is the top. For Bitcoin of an impulsive move. I think the top was there and we've had some kind of A into a B into a potential C, and right now we're looking to break bull. So we're looking to hold the higher highs and higher low structure from this pivot point. We run up into the same resistance, fantastic, pullback, high low. Resistance, if we can make a high low, I think we're up here basically for Bitcoin. So can't be too bearish just yet. Okay, if we break this low, obviously we'll be targeting buy zones down here. But Bitcoin's currently not doing that because it looks as though it's trying to reverse a trend and it's running into resistance, which has been there before. It's not like it's doing anything it shouldn't do right now. So again, I can't be too bearish on Bitcoin. But in the meantime, like I said to you, I think we've got an ascending triangle here early in the week. We broke out and got kind of back test, and we're not necessarily back tested it. So you may have some kind of ABC back in support before creating a right shoulder here, which is basically your left shoulder there, your head there, your right shoulder here, and then you've got a bigger macro move that once you take that neckline out, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see you've not got that much resistance above. Your technical target for Bitcoin would be price discovery right there. You would be pumping into roughly 127k because of the technical target that you now find yourselves in, providing you take out that neckline at roughly 116.816 and you hold this head at support 107.279. So this is your primary support right now for this potential bullish impulse that's forming here for Bitcoin. Okay, so on Bitcoin, on the macro time frame, I've been looking at Bitcoin moving for a very long time. It's doing everything, so far so good, but at some point it will reverse and will roll over. But I think we may have one little squeeze to the upside before we see that scenario play out, and I'll show you exactly why on the macro. Okay, so this is just a little thought experiment looking at Bitcoin on the macro on the weekly time frame right there. Now in the previous cycle, I've relayed this to you before. This particular double top ran into the 1.618 fib. Okay, from this top in 2017, rolled into that horrible crash, capitulation at the bottom, and then Bitcoin slowly but surely came up and snagged the 1.618 twice before retracing to this low basically. So you got an impulsive move, corrective move coming down, held the swing high, and then it broke again. So if we move to the right, you can clearly see, you double tapped the 1.618 twice in some kind of double top just there. There's a high, there's a low, there's a high, there's a low. Lost it as support, back tested resistance and dropped. Okay, it was a double top drop. Came into this same resistance, so resistance broke out and you've never back tested that. So that is on the radar in the next big crashing correction as a potential scenario, not a guaranteed scenario, but if we do start to correct quite, ferociously, that would be a zone for me because you've broken out and got kind of back test just there in, I think, October 2023 and never back tested it. But anyway, that's possible scenario in the future. But what we've got to respect is the fibs. The fibs are boss, 786, correction, come up. You ran into the, look at that, you had a correction at 1.272, the 1414, and then you got to the 1.618 before that big whopping crash and correction right there for Bitcoin. So something else we're going to do as an observation is, obviously the fibs right now, in the previous cycle, double tapped the 1.618. So if we're doing exactly what we did in the previous cycle, we should be coming up to the 1.618. So from the bottom to the top, you're looking at some kind of beautiful move, roughly up into the 150k level. So you're coming to the 1 fib just there, resistance, you got your correction, 1.272 correction, 1414 right now, correction. Okay, and if we start to come up, I don't know why we would not have a correction at that 1.618, and it could just be the end game target right now. So is there anything else that we, as an observation, we can look at to say, okay, this is not necessarily the cycle top, or this was, or whatever, and we are looking at that appreciation, until we should start to think about a position, especially in Bitcoin and crypto. Well, there is a potential scenario right now, an observation using 2 moving averages. Okay, so what we're going to do firstly, and again you can do this, just go to TradingView. The ticker is BTC USD. You're looking for Bitcoin all-time history index from crypto on TradingView, really simple. And what we're going to do is drop an all-time high level in just there, level of resistance on that high, on that impulse, on that impulse as well, and obviously that impulse just there for Bitcoin and get that knob on. So basically you can clearly see you come upstairs and it's sort of running out of steam, isn't it? And right now you're in this another move to the upside, which is basically not going that far above the previous high. Okay, so look at this huge move, nice move, nice move, nice move, now another nice little move. So it's kind of running out of steam, you know, which is normal. You know, it's basically the returns are just getting less and less and less, you know, the diminishing returns. But anyway, aside from that, you know, have we got this upper move to the upside, and is there anything else we can look at as a guide? Okay, we may be coming up to the 1.618. There is something, okay, in the charts that happens every single top that we saw there and saw there and saw there, okay, in the charts using 2 moving averages. So to drop a moving average into your chart, just go to indicators, typing moving average like this, and go to, you're looking for 2 moving average here. You're looking for the moving average exponential, and you're looking for the moving average simple. Okay, so there's something that happens between these 2 moving averages that I'm about to show you. So go down to your cog, go to the EMA, change the color. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to change that to yellow, and the input change to 200 on the weekly time frame. Please remember that we're on the weekly time frame. Okay, 200 right there. Click OK, and then to the SMA, the same thing. We're going to say 200, but just leave the color. Inputs is 200 on the weekly. So there's an observation here, because something happens on the key pivot points of the previous high within the moving averages that triggers a warning shot, and we've just not seen it yet. So if we're respecting what we've seen before, then it would indicate that this cycle top's not in, if we're just respecting what we've seen before with these 2 moving averages. So I'll go through this with you as best I can, but it's really simple. Whenever we see the previous all-time high taken out by the moving averages, your top's in. Look at that. So you're taking out the previous all-time high with your previous all-time high with the moving averages, your top's in. A small window of opportunity, again, just there, your previous all-time high, which was there, you're taking it out with your moving averages, your top's in. Look at that, beautiful. And then again here, you know, small window of opportunity, you're taking the previous pivot high out, which is this high in 2017, you're taking it out with your moving averages, your top's in. And we just don't see it yet. So is it, you know, something we just got to kick back and wait for, that once we see these moving averages take out the previous pivot high, which was here, you know, you're in top territory right there. So it's just a little observation I'm showing you. Again, it may not happen, it may happen, who knows. It's just a little observation with the data that I'm showing you right now. So I hope you understand the update. I'll keep updated as best as I can. It is a thought experiment. All TA and technical analysis is, there's no absolutes, there's no crystal ball, you're fully aware of that. But, you know, if Bitcoin can turn around, has this little correction, shakes people out, starts turning around and goes vertical, then we'll keep an eye on these moving averages, because just there was a trigger for the top, okay? Stay up, stay strong, stay tuned. Take care, everyone. Back to a new update on Bitcoin. Bye-bye.